Before we get into this week's video, I wanted to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have a mustache now. Change is good. We try new things. Let's move on. I'm just glad I didn't do it when everyone and their mother saw Top Gun and was like, I'm gonna get a mustache. Thank God for that. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Brandon Aries, and welcome to the Sanctuary. You may have seen my video from 2 weeks ago talking about bringing more awareness to September and Suicide Prevention Month. In that same video, I opened up about my struggle with suicide, and I was really vulnerable to all of you. Then that got me thinking. Not everyone has the opportunity to do that, or they feel like they can't. I'm here to tell you that being vulnerable is good. I mean, it shows that you're human just like everyone else. Being vulnerable is a crucial piece of who we are as human beings. Though, like I said before, there are people on this earth that feel like they can't be vulnerable. And I used to be one of those people. Allow me to explain. See, in my past, there were times where I trusted someone enough to be vulnerable with them. And in time, that vulnerability was turned against me. And that's not cool. When that happened, I would just shut down. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't show any emotion. I would just, like a robot, I was just stoic. Stoicism is something that I've been trying to improve in my life because it has had a negative effect on those I care about. Over the past 2 years in my self-discovery time, I've also been trying to work on being more in tune with my emotions and how I feel as well. With that comes being able to be vulnerable with people and learning how to let those people in. Now, I have seen and been approached by people who have been in similar positions as myself. They either didn't get the job they wanted, their heart was broken by someone, or they lost a loved one, etc. So instead of feeling those feelings that they might have been experiencing, they just try to suck it up and push down all those feelings and emotions that they're going through. Now, this next point is catered a little more towards the guys. Guys, you all know this. When something's going on, we try to put on this macho front and act like everything is perfectly fine. Here's my problem with that. It's 2022. Fellas, we don't have to hide how we feel anymore. Having feelings doesn't make you weak or feminine or less of a man. It makes you a human being. Folks, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to feel what you feel. If you feel like you have to fall apart right on the ground and cry your eyes out, do it. Instead of bottling up all that pain and emotion and just pushing it and continuing to push it down, you should learn to let it out. Because sometimes when you build up all those emotions, you might end up taking it out on someone who didn't even deserve it. And that might make you feel even worse. See, your weakness is your greatest strength. Accepting that you have those feelings and actually letting yourself feel them is huge. I used to think I was weak for feeling emotions like sadness, sorrow. I think part of that is because I rarely saw my father show any true emotion. I really never saw my father show any vulnerability. Guy was like a statue. The only time I saw him cry in my life was when my grandfather, his dad, passed away. Other than that, my dad was like a robot with 2 settings. It was either normal dad or angry son of a gun. Nothing really in between. I look back at it now and I almost feel sad for him that he couldn't be vulnerable. But that's in the past now. I take experiences from my life and those around me that are willing to share their experiences, and I try to make it useful information for all of you. Also, the suicide prevention video was not the first time I was really vulnerable with all of you. I mean, for example, there was my mental breakdown last year.
I'm about to get deep and a little personal, so fair warning. I dropped to the floor and I just broke down crying.
I talked about dark times I was going through. I feel drained, mentally frustrated, unnecessarily angry at times. And lastly, as I recently talked about, my depressive episode. So when my room is a mess, I'm depressed. Even when I wrote that, I had no intention of rhyming, I promise. All in all, being vulnerable can be scary. But who am I to tell you? I mean, I'm just a guy on the internet that does this every week and tries to encourage you that it's okay. But who am I? Look, I totally agree that being vulnerable and opening yourself up to others is a terrifying thing to do, especially if you're an introvert like myself. But how are you going to get better at being vulnerable with others if you're not even trying to? See, now I got you on that one. The moral of this week's video: being vulnerable is good. We should all practice being more vulnerable with those that we care about. I mean, we all have feelings, because after all, we're only human. That does it for this week's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to give a like. It is always so much appreciated here in the sanctuary. For mental health, everyday life advice, movies, and music reviews, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And next to that is a notification bell for every week this lover boy pops up in your feed. This lover boy is also on Twitch. This week we played Overwatch, as this is the last week that Overwatch 1 servers will be active, because next week is Overwatch 2. I'm so excited for Overwatch 2. It felt so good playing Overwatch again with all my friends. Remember, if I didn't see you this week, I'll see you next week. Do you guys like this shirt? Do you know where it's from? Oh, you do! It's from the Only Oni Fall Drop. That's right. If you haven't gotten yours yet, remember, use code Aries for 10% off your order. For video uploads and stream updates, please be sure to follow my socials, my Twitter and my Instagram. Again, links will be in the description below, as well as all the equipment that I use for each and every video. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for letting me be vulnerable with all of you. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.